Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations in to talk about what they are giving to our community. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals. As realtors and brokerage owners, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week.
Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Welcome to Livingston. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yes, and we are so excited for today's episode. But before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to mention our sponsor. Today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Paquette with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He is a trusted mortgage lender that has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Paquette is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their homeownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. And you know, one of the things I love about Jim is that he's so on the spot available.
Yes.
You know, he's hands-on. He has really good, he's right there when you need him.
Well, in that trust that we have for him as we recommend him to our clients and know that things turn out so well, honest to goodness, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Jim, for sponsoring the podcast. And we just enjoy working with you.
Yeah. And to any of our listeners, know that you can feel confident that whether it's a mortgage or a refinance, he's a great guy to give a call. Yes,
100%. So today's episode, I am really excited about today's episode.
Yes, I know. Well, it's that time of year that we start thinking about next year, right?
Yeah. So, we have local businesses on all the time, talking about their causes, talking about what they're doing in the business, events and such. But we have so many entrepreneurs on our show. And we have so many people that are just invested in their life, invested in their business. And this time of year, as the Putkela Group, we're doing our goal setting for the next year.
Right.
And we are sitting down and we're looking in the rearview mirror of what we've done this year. And we're looking forward down the road of what are our goals and how are we going to set ourselves up for success. Because both of us really think that being cognizant of those things and talking about those things, if you don't know where you want to go, you're never going to end up there.
Right. Yeah. How are you supposed to get there if you don't know where you're going?
Exactly.
You might not know how to get there, but that's okay. You needed to start with the destination.
You do. You start with the destination in mind. And so what we wanted to talk about today is, what does goal setting look like?
Yeah. In terms of best practices.
Yes. Because it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But
strategies,
right? So I wanted to start off with introducing the topic and kind of talk a little bit about, first off, what is goal setting? And then what do you want to do to be able to make that successful? So obviously goal setting is different for an individual than it is for like the owner of a business, right? Or if you're looking at your personal versus your employment, like if you're a salesperson or such, you're obviously looking at goal setting for any person. You can be looking at goal setting in your life, and the areas that you're looking in it, while you think they may be different, the process is kind of the same.
At least it's very similar.
Right.
And that's important. One of the strategies that I like the best is a SWOT analysis. Could I?
Yeah, I would love to start off with a SWOT analysis, because I think a SWOT analysis is really important because it gives you a snapshot, and it gives you a little bit of what tools you're working with.
That's true. Because if you're going to start using those tools, you need to figure out what you have first.
Right. So if someone's going to sit down, for those uninitiated, what is a SWOT analysis?
That's a very good question. It's a full-on analysis. What the letters SWOT stand for is you're taking a good hard look at your strengths, your weaknesses, what opportunities you have, and what threats are there. But there's so many different aspects about life. And that's why it's nice when it's a business, but even in terms of, a person, if good health is part of my goals here, then one of those threats are the cupcakes in the cupboard, right?
Right.
That's a threat to me succeeding. So trying to take a look at, is that something that we can do something about, or isn't it? And by the same token, the opportunities that are out there.
Like maybe your gym membership.
Right. Because a lot of people out there do have a gym membership that they're not using, or gym equipment in the house, right? We do. you use it sometimes, but in all fairness, I never use it. And it would be so easy because we're already paying for it. We already have it, there's really that barrier to entry isn't there. So that's a huge opportunity for me if I were to, get my cookies together and start using it.
For me, a strength may be that I actually utilize the Peloton.
Right.
Where for you, that would be an opportunity because it's there, but you're not using it.
Correct. And I could very easily. You bought me shoes. You bought me the stuff. It's just me climbing on.
Your shoes sit right next to my shoes for it, but
it's so
yours
cute.
don't move.
No, mine don't. Maybe they will next year.
Maybe. Yes. The funny thing on that one is I have a love-hate relationship with the idea of you using the Peloton because then I have to adjust the seat height. And like right now, it's like the shoes are there for you, but it gets to be my Peloton.
Right.
So we'll work on that. It'll be good. I would love for you to use it.
For you, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but
no, I think a SWOT analysis. So when someone's going into a SWOT analysis, remember it's important to look at where you're at now, right? Mm-hmm. So part of goal setting is you're going to sit down, you're going to be like, the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out what my goals for next year are, right? So the difference between figuring out your goals and looking at your SWOT analysis, you can do one or the other first because sometimes it's a good idea to get a baseline analysis of what does my world within the thing I'm goal setting for look like today, right? And that's where the SWOT is. It's where am I at right now? Right? Let's take a temperature check.
Love it. Yeah.
Right? So then we can look at it in the future of like, okay, if I know where I am today, I can see where it is I want to go. Right? So doing that SWOT analysis, me and you have done it a number of times. We try to do it at least once a year. I know it was up on the board a while ago and you took notes on it and everything, and you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to look at all my strengths. These are the tools I have in my tool shed, right?
Yeah.
Right now, right? Then I'm going to look at my weaknesses. These are the areas that I need to work on. I've been avoiding.
How do I overcome them?
How do I overcome my weaknesses? What are threats?
Can I tell you from one year to the next, half of the things that I thought were threats to us in our business, totally not even an issue, right?
Right.
Fascinating, And then in terms of the opportunities, like as we took advantage of some of those opportunities and worked on those, wouldn't you know, more opportunities popped up from there. It's really, fantastic that as you do it once a year, you change and you grow as a person and you can continue to develop it.
Right.
And just to clarify on that whole SWOT analysis part of it, the S stands for strengths, the W for weaknesses, the O's for opportunities, and the T's for threats.
Yeah, and when you do it, if you're going to be doing this, we use a whiteboard for it because a whiteboard works out really good because you're able to put things on it, you're able to erase things, or you're able to move things to another section because sometimes something that you think is in one is in another, and sometimes you'll have one thing that's in two areas.
Yeah, it's a strength and a weakness.
It's a strength and a weakness, or it's an opportunity and it's a threat, or, it's interesting and such. But if you use a whiteboard, you're able to interact with it.
Right.
And it's something you can do all by yourself. But if like you're in a business and you have your team sitting there doing it, you're going to come up with so much more things. There's no wrong answer in a SWOT analysis. And then you're looking at it afterwards because you're able to pull things out where somebody might think it's a strength and another person might say, but no, I thought it was a weakness. And then there's a discussion there of like, why do you think it's a strength when I think it's a weakness? And all of a sudden you're able to see it from a different aspect.
Right. Because of the different perspectives.
Right. So, a SWOT analysis is good to start off with goal setting, But one of the things I really wanted to talk about is when you're goal setting that goal, you need to really push yourself to have a big goal.
I know it's going to say, well, why?
Why? Yeah, no, exactly. So, I think a lot about your big why. Yeah. And your big why leads to your goals. Your big why is the reason you get up in the morning and why you're willing to work so hard towards your goal. Because you can throw a huge goal out there, but if there's not a reason behind it to push towards the goal, you're going to give it up. You're not going to do the things that need to be done to get you where you want to go.
Right.
So, and that big why is different for everybody else. And, we've gone to quite a few different seminars and such. Yeah. I've read a lot of different self-help books, and every book treats this a different way, and they have a different word for it. But the idea is looking within yourself and saying, I need a reason to push myself. And that reason needs to be big enough that it's going to outweigh the distractions in your life.
Needs to excite you.
It 100% needs to excite you. And it needs to be big.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Right.
I mean, for us in our old house, somehow I got the idea. Well, and we'd had the idea and we talked about it, but like just one day we were going to put a sunroom on the back, right?
Yeah.
And that was just a really, really big deal. And it was like, wow, that's really expensive. Like, I don't know if we can afford that. Like, you know what? That became a big why to me. And all of a sudden, we put down the deposit, we get the ball rolling. And once you know it, by the time it was getting finished, we had more than enough because it was the incentive that was needed.
100%. And actually, if we look at that event, that was so much bigger than you give it credit for, because we had gone to Chicago to go to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within UPW. And you were able to get so much fire there. I mean, you actually walked on fire. So hot coals to have that motivation and have that big why, have those goals and everything. And within like a 2-week span, we not only decided to put the sunroom on the back of the house, and you were putting down a deposit on that, but you put in place that we were going to be taking the kids to London.
That's true. That was spring break the next year. So 9 months later.
9 months later. But you set both of those things within you made that decision within like a few days of each other, of like, okay, we're going to pay for a trip to London for 5 people. We're going to put an addition on the back of the house, and we're going to remodel our kitchen and do all of this. And then I remember I sat down with you and I was like, honey, we can't afford any of this.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope, that's not a problem. We're going to figure that out.
Because that was a big why.
It was a big why. So then all of a sudden the motivation to change our business, to be able to grow, to get to where it needs to be. And that's why I think goal setting is so important, because when you set a big goal in front of you, then all of a sudden you need to make the changes in your life to get to that. Right?
Right.
Right. I say a lot of times within myself, and I've talked to our people about it, it's this whole idea of it's not getting to the goal. It's who do I need to become to get to the goal? And it's the change within yourself and within what you're doing that makes that goal possible. So as you go through that process, when you get to that goal at the end, you're not the same person you were at the beginning. Your business isn't the same it was at the beginning. Your life isn't the same that it was at the beginning, because you're able to set that standard to where you need to go. And that starts with having a big dream and having a place that you want to get to that's not easy to get there.
Right.
Because the journey is what's important.
Absolutely. And as you're embarking on it, that's why it's a stretch. That's why it's tough, because it's the growth that's necessary in order to make it there.
Right. 100%. So you need a big why. You're going to do a SWOT analysis. So it's going to give you opportunities. It's going to let you know the tools that you're working with, and I've said this in other podcasts and such, and I love listening to Tony Robbins, but Tony Robbins likes to say, it's not a lack of resources. It's never a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. So you have more tools than you know that you have. How do you use them? Right? So that leads me right into the 80-20 rule. You need to do actions. So the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule?
Pareto's principle, I believe is what
yes, it is.
That's where 80% of the value comes from 20% of the actions, right?
100%. The converse to that is what you're doing doesn't have to be perfect. There's people out there that say, I'm not going to launch this till it's absolutely perfect. Everything has to be absolutely right to get there, and then they never launch.
Tell you what, how about working out, right?
Yep.
Like, I want to lose weight, and I'm going to start doing it. And just as soon as I find just the right class, and I have my sneakers aren't right, and I want to do some walking first, and so it's not even just professional; it's personal. We all make excuses, right? And it's that little spark. Find that 20% that will move you into action, and then all of a sudden you'll get 80% of the results.
Right. Or if you're 80% there, don't wait for the other 20% to be perfect. Just launch. Go. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. So steps in terms of goal setting, right? Number one, you need to imagine where it is you want to end up. You have to look at the end in mind. Create a vision of your success and write it down.
That visualization is huge.
Right. Be as specific as possible. Right? It's not I want to make
I want to lose weight.
Right. And it's not even, we'll look at the health one because that's really easy and it's very much universal, right?
Well, it's relatable to everybody.
It's relatable to everybody, right? It's not I want to lose weight. And it's not even I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose 27 pounds or whatever it is. It's I want to have more energy, or I want to be able to, not have my knees hurt. It's like, it's be specific.
To fit into my damn clothes.
It's to fit. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep. What is it? Everyone has, there's so many people that they have in their closet, they have their thin clothes and then they have their everyday clothes and they have their fat clothes for when they gained weight and everything.
And then there's the new extra.
There you go. But I think being specific is good. I want to look like this. I want to fit into this. I want to be able to do this. I remember, I was 29 when I did my first of 2 marathons, right?
Right.
And I signed up for the marathon and I was completely out of shape. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a marathon this October. And I signed up and then it was, holy shit, I have to do a marathon in October.
Yeah.
Right. But I had an end goal in mind.
Yeah.
So you need to set those things. You need to imagine where you want to end up, create a vision for what your success looks like. We can talk about it later, but you can do a vision board. Vision boards are important. Print off some pictures, put it up, look at it. What we think about expands, where we put our energy expands. You can invite something into the universe, and those vision boards are part of that.
Absolutely, because you want to continue to keep visualizing, right?
Right.
Because I'm notorious for this. Start of the year, I write down all these fantastic goals, and then I set it aside, and I don't look at it again for 11 months. And then like, I should look at how I do. But how are you supposed to stay on track if you're not continuing to revisit it?
Yeah, no, revisiting is an important thing, right?
Yes.
You just can't throw it out there and then never look at it again, right?
Yeah.
You have your New Year's resolutions, and then the next year you look at it, you're like, oh, this is last year's new resolutions. Let's just cross off 2024 at the top and put 2025 on it and move forward.
Yeah, that's not cool. Especially when, they fizzle out within just a couple of weeks. So in terms of having those lasting effects, The vision board is nice because what a vision board is, it's something more creative. Take a magazine, take, pictures that you print off online and literally paste them on a board. Have it there, or you've created one.
I've created quite a few of them.
Yeah,
I have a vision board that's been there for a while that's sitting over there. A little one that I made that has college for our 3 kids.
Right.
And it has what I wanted out of Harrison going to college, Colin, and then Evie. Right. So Harrison's in college now. So 1/3 of my vision board is where it wants to be right now.
Yeah.
And now we're working on the middle one of where it wants to be.
Yeah.
Right. So you have goals in mind, specific goals in mind. And the biggest thing is, people out there, please don't limit yourself. Dream as big as humanly possible. And then when you think what it is, I want you to take it a step further. Like
push yourself.
Push yourself. Okay. Because, if you don't make it there, look where you could end up somewhere in the middle because you are going for a goal that was so big. So I think those things are important. When you have your goals, sit down and break them down. Look at it, be specific. Say like, okay, I want to make it to X. What are the steps? What's A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth to get there? Right? Talk to other people. Let other people know your goals.
Yeah.
They want to help you.
Absolutely. And it builds in this level of accountability. If you don't really want to share with people that you want to lose weight and you've set this goal, then, all of a sudden when you're taking a donut at the whatever, it's like you keep it secret, and how are you supposed to achieve it?
Right.
You need to commit to that goal and be living it.
100%. And celebrate the little victories along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you have a weight goal in mind and you're like, okay, I'm going to weigh myself in every week, and you're making steps towards in that direction,
mm-hmm.
reward yourself as you go. Understand that this is a long journey towards your end goal. You're not going to lose 18 pounds in week number 1.
Right. It's the little victories.
It's the little
victories.
So much.
And even on the business side, if you, get a big sale or achieve something that you've been wanting to tackle and accomplish it, those are a big deal.
They are. Just celebrate those victories within your business, right? And even within your business, that's why it's important to share your goals with your supervisor, with your business partners, with your clients,
mm-hmm.
because they want to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, they want you to succeed. People, this isn't life isn't always a competition, right? There's room for everyone to succeed, and we want our fellow people to feel good. We want them to achieve their goals. We want them to go on amazing trips and make it to great colleges and upgrade their house and lose weight and get a new wardrobe.
Quality of life.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your stage. Your life should be of a quality that you have happiness, you have fulfillment. You are excited when you get up in the morning to go tackle all that you have in store.
Right. So I'm going to ask you a question about what it feels like to start to achieve your goals and to how that affects you on a daily basis and makes it harder or easier to get to your goals. And I'm going to ask you specifically about weight loss, because you have been losing weight.
I've been doing pretty good. I think that's going to be a whole nother episode in a different time. But I'm finally, for like the first time ever, making progress. I think I always was too stubborn to really commit to something, and so I would do the tango, or the hokey pokey, right? You put your right foot in. Oh, I lost 2 pounds. You put your right foot out. Oh, I gained 3.
Right.
But it's not been that way this time. And now that it's happening, can I tell you how invigorating it is? Like to actually see success and a goal that I've set and not just sort of wallowing or willowing or, to actually have that, it motivates me to commit more, to really be firm about the new steps I've taken. And really to continue to do the right things, because once you see the traction you're getting, the momentum it gives you is absolutely unstoppable.
Right. Yeah, no, it gives you the momentum it gives you is a good word for it. It does give momentum. It's like, I think about momentum in any of these goals that you're pushing through to be a lot like a rock rolling down a hill. Or even better, remember when we were kids and you would try to make the really big snowball? Like, you went out there and it was the perfect day where the snow was packing, right? And you take a little bit of a snowball, and we've all had that experience where we started to roll it, and it picked up all the snow underneath it, where you saw the green grass underneath it, because it was that good of an environment for making the big snowball. So then you pushed it and you turned it, and it got momentum where it was growing so quickly. I think that when you have a great goal in mind and you're starting to feel that momentum,
just that spark, that
it picks up steam,
bit.
right?
Oh, it does.
It makes you feel good.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's exciting.
And it makes you know that you're doing the right things to make this possible.
Yes, because it's not something that just happens to be happening. It's something that's directly correlated with actions that I'm making, things that I'm doing, choices that I've made, and then the results are part of that. I'm getting the right results because I'm finally making the right choices.
Exactly. So if you do SMART goals, so a SMART goal, again, the SMART it's a specific goal, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, and you have some kind of timeline for it. Right? These are the type of goals that are really good goals, because if you say, hey, I want to lose weight, but you don't have a date that you want to lose the weight by, you're never going to get there.
Or you're saying, I want to lose 100 pounds in 6 months.
Exactly.
Like it needs to be within reason, like attainable, but certainly okay to be aggressive.
Right. You're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow if right now you're just getting into the job market.
But I feel like usually people don't push themselves enough. So
Exactly.
Usually it's not a problem to go over sometimes, but for the most part, and I think there's an expression out there that you can achieve less than you think in 1 year, but so much more than you think in 3.
Right.
There's
No, it's the same thing. Even within I can't remember, I know exactly what you're talking about, but they say, you are going to not achieve as much as you think you are in, like you said, a week or a month. Mm-hmm. But look at how far you can get. We underestimate long term. We underestimate what happens when we pick up steam, because so often we give up before the fire
rolling.
Catches.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Now, for some people, when you have a huge goal, some people do what we would like to call burning the boats.
There's that. Yeah.
It's that idea of cold turkey.
Powerful.
Take extreme action, right? Set a goal. Tell someone what the goal is. Take an extreme action that sets you down the path towards that goal.
Describe burning the boats, because what burning the boats means there's no other option but to succeed. When you have burned those boats, that means that there's no way to go back.
No, it's a point of no return, right?
Yes.
For some people, I'm not advocating quitting your job, please. No, I'm not advocating that. What I'm advocating for is when you have a burn the boats moment, you are all in. Right?
But that's a good description of once you've left your job. Well, guess what? Now your business has to succeed.
And there's people that do that. They're like, okay. And I would say that to people out there sometimes where you have and we've actually had people on the show that have talked about this, where it's this idea of, I had this business and the business was going pretty good, but I also had my safeguard of my real job that was making sure that I had enough money in the bank accounts, right? Mm-hmm. But then at some point they decided I needed to quit this job so I could put the time into my passion project that it needed to make sure it succeeded. And that's when they burned the boats.
Yeah. And then that's when all of a sudden they succeed farther than they ever thought possible because they were holding themselves back.
Right. And there's people out there where you can hold yourself back, which is why goal setting is so important. Look at what you can do in a year and make sure that you're pushing yourself. So, you're sitting down, you're doing a SWOT analysis, you're knowing what tools you have in front of you. You're thinking about what your big why is. Journal. Look at what you have in your life. Look at what the reasons that you want to do it. It could be your kids. It could be, there's so many things that could be your big why, but it's the passion that keeps you going for why you are doing what you're doing on a daily basis.
And for each person, their goals are their own.
Yes.
No two people really should have the exact same goals, But part of that too, write down those goals. Have them where you can see them. Review them every chance you get, every day, at least every week. Make sure that that's in your forefront, in your mind.
100%. So a quick question. People's goals change, right?
That's true too. Yeah, they do.
Right. And your big why can change, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason I wanted to mention that is there's this phenomena of the floor and the ceiling, right? Mm-hmm. We all have what we call our comfort zone, right? And our comfort zone is the area that we feel comfortable in, where I'm not making too much money that causes problems. I'm not making too little money that causes stress, but I'm somewhere in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not eating so much food that I can't fit into any of my clothes, right? But I'm not doing so much exercise that my muscles are sore. Right. You have a comfort zone, and you have a comfort zone in your business. If we're talking about business owner or salespeople, that somehow you're in a sales industry that you get paid by commission, but you make the exact same amount of money every year.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
That is your comfort zone. You know how much activity you need to do to make sure that you have the business that you want to have, but you're not going to do more than that because it's uncomfortable, right? You've hit your ceiling.
Yes.
Right? This is what I can do with the resources I have in front of me, right? And you have your floor because you're like, hey, I need to do at least this much to be comfortable and get into the comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have big goals and you set them down and you put a plan in place, if you break through that ceiling, then that level, that ceiling becomes your new floor.
How do you do that? I have an answer.
I'd love to hear it.
Get uncomfortable.
100%.
Get uncomfortable. The things that you are putting off, the things that you feel like you can't do, the things you just won't do. The thing is like, oh, that's so uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, that's how you know you're doing it right. Frankly.
This is true. Yeah.
That's anything uncomfortable is outside of that floor ceiling.
Right. So for salespeople, that may be making phone calls. For the person that wants to lose weight, that may be actually
doing something different than you're doing something more than you're doing.
Right.
Both of those options, right,
yep.
are a big deal. You may have your regular classes you do, or your equipment, or going for walks. Why not shake it up? Add something else to your fitness regimen. Or maybe you're working out and you're doing great, but then you eat whatever the heck you want. What would happen if you ate what you were supposed to eat? And that's what I'd want to challenge our listeners. In general, whatever your goals are, what would happen if you did what you were supposed to do?
Right, because the fact of the matter is most of us we know what it's going to take, right?
Yeah, whatever that goal is,
that goal, you know the actions that are needed. You just haven't figured out a way to push yourself past the point that you're going to do those actions, right? And sometimes that's sharing that goal with the right people that are going to keep you accountable, right? Sometimes it's being vocal about it. Sometimes it's going out there and be like, okay, I wanted to run a marathon, but I've never done it. Put down the money and sign up for it. Because if all of a sudden you know that on this date I have to do it, it changes.
How am I supposed to do a marathon?
Right.
I can't run a mile. Oh my gosh. Wow. How uncomfortable does that feel?
Right.
Bam.
Or
That's the right thing.
Or like when Angela wanted us to build a sunroom, she put down a deposit.
We did. We put
down a deposit. You know,
don't know where the rest of the money's coming from, but let's put down a deposit.
But that's when you look at it, create an action plan, have a timeline, take action, reevaluate. In all of these things, there was a timeline. There was like, I have to do this by this date. And then you reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I have to get there. What am I going to do to get there? And who's going to help me?
Right? Because you're not on an island.
You are not alone.
Yeah, you have friends, you have family. Sometimes working on, goals together with your spouse, right? Yep. That's huge too.
Yeah, sharing these things with your spouse, sharing it with your loved ones is an amazing thing, because sometimes they don't know, right? You're not on an island, and it's not a secret that you're trying to keep.
Right.
Right?
Get out with it, man.
Get out with it. You're not going to become a new person overnight.
There's a lot of cheerleaders out there. There's a lot of people that want to see you succeed.
What is it? A journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first one.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I love quotes, but sometimes I get the words wrong a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, but no, this has been amazing. What am I missing here?
It's a good question. It's not easy, but I feel like starting that first step and literally making those goals and make them before December 31st. Okay.
Well, I am a big proponent of, you don't need to be goal setting on the first of the year. It's so wonderful that a new year's starting and we all do it and everything. But if you're really serious about it, do it today.
Right.
And that doesn't matter what month you're listening to this in.
Yeah.
Do it today. Sit down, make some goals, have some tough conversations with yourself. Realize what it is you're not doing, because guess what? We all know what it is we're not doing. We all know what it takes to get to where we want to be. If you're smoking cigarettes and you're like, I've always wanted to quit, but I don't know how to quit, guess what? You know exactly how to quit. You're just hiding the truth from yourself, because we all have it within us to do it. We just need the right motivation to be able to do it. Because the thing is, it's, okay, so I'm going to go with one more Tony, because we've been to 2 Tony things, and I tend to listen to a lot of it and such. He says that when we make a change that looks like it was a cold turkey change, or it all changed overnight, it didn't all change overnight, because it took you time to think about it, to figure it out and everything. But there was a cataclysmic thing that said, I'm doing it now.
Well, and it doesn't even need to be cataclysmic. It just has to happen.
Right.
It took you to that moment, whatever that moment was, to make that decision, and just that little bit of a change. And it's all different because you've decided that, because you're ready.
Right. Yeah, you're ready.
Be ready.
Make that change.
What are you waiting for?
Right. And then you have those goals, and as you get success breeds more success. You get more energy, you get more motivation, you get happier about it, and then it pushes you into it. And then people recognize that something's changing within you, and people recognize that strength and that power and that enthusiasm within you, and that breeds.
They're drawn to it.
They're drawn to that, and that breeds more success, and then that gets that momentum going, and then that pushes you towards that goal. And then as you reach that goal, you need to change that goal, and you need to make that goal bigger, because so often people get to the goal and they're like, I got here. Now what?
Now what?
Right? So you're reassessing as you go. You're reevaluating your life. You're like, okay, I made it here. Now where do I go to get there? So it's an amazing thing. Please, if you ever have questions about it, reach out. I love talking about it. It's an important thing, and it's not a perfect thing, because sometimes I'm reaching my goals, sometimes I'm not reaching my goals. Sometimes I take a step back. Sometimes if you have one area in your life that's doing amazing and our area of your life isn't doing as well, but you know what skills to use to be able to do that, and you can achieve anything if you try.
I love it.
Yep.
It's the truth, though. It's totally the truth. And it starts with that planning.
It does.
And that goal planning.
Yep. So no, I think we're going to wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening today. We really appreciate it. Check out our other episodes. We have so many businesses on that are able to tell their stories and hear the passion in their voices about how they found their big why within their businesses and why they're pushing their businesses to where it is, or the things that they get involved in, the community events that they're doing and such. We meet so many amazing people and we love sharing their stories.
Yeah, we absolutely love it. And it's nice to interject ours from time to time too.
Yep. So thank you so much.
Okay, thanks so much.
And welcome to Livingston.